Hi, I hope you all are doing well. I just wanted to pop in a little bit today. It's been a while since I have done a video. Um, and I spoke about this a little bit last time that it's very difficult to come in now and talk about current energies because for me, it feels to be doing a huge disservice to people. Um, we can talk about the current energies all we want, but if our field is not prepared to uptake into these transitions, it's not going to matter. So, a lot of times, hearing these things, I feel, is just enabling people and it's putting a band aid on situations um, that really need to kind of be dismantled rather than what it feels like to me is having this kind of fog that's placed over the whole situation. Um, I'm just feeling this energy, and again, I've spoken about these things in the past, right? All of this false light, this false ascension matrix, all of the false teachings, and the word that's coming up is proclamations. Um, so, like, I cannot believe the amount of information that is starting to come out, like that has come out over this last year, the change in um, the inundation of false information. And the issue with that really is the fact that people don't realize it's even false. And 90% of it probably is coming from not true source energy. And it's really creating this perfect storm. And we have access to the new fields. So many people are not operating out of them because they don't know the difference between the new and the old. So many people are just completely stuck in these old environments and they don't even realize it. Part of what I was seeing the other day is when it comes to this mental programming and the mind programming and all of these AI infrastructures, that when we look at the mind, the brain is really the final frontier. The problem with it, though, of course, the way that we've been taught in society is that we have to gain control of our thought processes. That as long as we are in control of our thoughts and in control of the way that we think, that we can power through anything. And that's true if you have reordered through your light field. But the problem is that people are going right to trying to control their environment through their thoughts and beliefs and their brain patterning instead of looking at the real issue, which is in the energy field, right? It's in our individual energy field that we hold. It's in the greater collective fields as well, but all of that is being reordered. So to this point, it's like we shouldn't be, I don't want to say should as in, right, there's no like shaming in that sense, but really we do not have to be in that pain and torture anymore. Like this is all starting to come out. So it's like if we're still existing in those fields, we have to really look at what's going on there, that something is really, really wrong here. When it comes to twin flame unions, and I guess I'll just speak from this respect, what I am being shown is that you can think that you're in union, you can think even, beyond the twin and the connection, even if the twin isn't there, that people think they are ascending through the process. And what's really happening is they are climbing this ladder of some other construct of false light. And the problem is you don't realize it until you get to this particular level, and then the whole thing is wiped out through the mind, because that is where the mental programming is held. It's at the very top. It's right at source, essentially. So you can be going along all these years thinking that you're making wonderful progress. And in many respects, if you look at your physical life, people are manifesting like crazy. All kinds of wonderful things appear to be happening. And this is the scary part of this, is that people think they are on the right path, right? But you get to a point where suddenly something snaps and you're looping in this cycle that you can't get out of, or you're feeling massively attacked and all of these things, just your world just seems like it's going to end. um, of course you're being attacked at the mental level, and you're being looped through the mind over and over again, because that's the way this alter system has been designed. The brain is the final frontier, but the brain is also where all of this is coming in from. However, you can't address it at the brain level. First, you have to address it through the light ordering. And of course, the brain is all a part of this light system as well, right? But I think that this whole thing is pretty much upside down and backwards, and people are going about it the completely wrong way. And but then we look out and we say, well, what about this person? And how is this person, managing to move through these energies? And I really feel that this year is going to be incredibly telling in terms of what we start to see of this fallout. And as an example, right, this article with During Virtue or whatever came out, and I don't even know the details. I saw the headlines, and all I really want to say about that is, there are people who are kind of freaking out because if they have followed her and they have followed her teachings and they believe in what she has been saying, now she has suddenly shifted her story. And so people who have attached to the information she was putting out there now don't have a base to stand on, essentially. And what that says to me is that people are looking outside of themselves, right? They're looking for someone else to tell them what is true and what is correct. There are people who can guide us. There are people who do operate out of true source and who do know the truth, but those people aren't going to spoon feed you this information, and they're going to help you learn how to go internal rather than here's some information, go away, come back tomorrow, go away until you feel better. And it's not that they're explicitly saying that, right? But we've all gone through this. We know when we're like addicted to listening to these readings, we're addicted to finding something on the internet that's going to make us feel better. And that has worked for a really, really, really long time. And that is not going to work for much longer. So, and you may even be experiencing this already where you're like, I just can't listen to that anymore. Like even that isn't helping, or that's making things worse. And we are forced to go internal. And what does that mean, right? It's going into your own light and finding your own connection through source. And again, there's so much distortion, right? You can think that you're connecting to source and you're connecting into these false ascension matrices. And that is where all of these, I saw a bumper sticker the other day that said, I am something. I don't remember what it was, but it caught my attention because I thought, you know what? They are proclaiming themselves as I am something. There is nothing outside of I am. It is simply I am, right? When you are operating out of source light, that is the I am presence. And so to say that I am an ascended master, I am an ascended being, I am, whatever kind of category you're choosing to put yourself into, that is all going to be wiped out. And so if you don't know the true source connection within yourself, I really do believe people are going to start struggling pretty heavily here. Okay, I feel like I'm constantly complaining about this, but I felt the need to reiterate again, because I think we've gotten away with a lot for a really long time. And I know I felt that as well too, right? Like, well, I'm just kind of gonna not take this so seriously. And it's really starting to hit home that we have got to step up and we have got to start doing this the right way, that we've been getting away with a lot for a really long time, but this is all going to start falling. And I think that, these things that we're seeing now, and in particular, this During Virtue example, I think is just perfect, right? It's like, well, okay, well, what are you following? Do you know what she's even connected to and where she's sourcing from, and all those details aren't even necessary. It's just the basis of like, well, if you're following something and that gets taken out, what do you believe in, right? And you can expand that out to, religion and politics. And it's like, what are your true core beliefs. Like, where are you centered from? And if it's not coming from internal, if you do not know your own light body, there are going to be problems. And there's no stone will be left unturned. There's no getting around this, and there's no getting away from it either. We're all in this system. We're all a part of this. So therefore, we're here, and there's no sidestepping this. And that's why we're here, is to work through this, to reclaim ourselves, who we are as true light beings. So the other thing I do want to mention is about twin flames, because I know in the past for me, right, like working through this journey, trying to figure out all these nuances of how do you survive kind of this journey in the beginning, especially, it's really disastrous. But I've been seeing a lot of people, and I've been hearing, and I know I used to do this too, right? Like, okay, yes, I'm working on myself and I'm focusing on myself, but in the back of my mind, there was still always this kind of, and I will be so relieved when the twin finally comes back, right? Or when something presents itself to show me that, like, yeah, this is union, this is what this is, blah, blah, blah. But what's even scarier to me is that instead of going to source, and instead of finding the light within ourselves, we're looking to the twin as the light. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, I know the journey is about myself and I'm working on myself, and forget them, and they're not even a part, either, they're not a part of this journey, it was always about me, or they'll come back when the time is right, and all these kinds of things. And that's also true to a degree, but I find that people also use that as kind of an overlay. It's like, yes, I'm working on myself, but they're really not. And it's not that they're not trying to, right? But again, there is entrapment through the fields. This twin flame template has been particularly targeted. It is the worst of the worst to have to deal with. But as we go forward, we continue to see more and more, and it continues to get outlined even more. It continues to be defined, right? More deeply. So what essentially has to happen is that we have to pull out of these old twin flame fields, these old twin flame templates, and we have to move into the new fields. And the only way that you can do that is to reorder through your own light body. Once you have access to your light structure, right, and you are running off of that, you are able to rebirth through the union. And the masculine does not come back on his own accord. He comes back in conjunction with the level of reordering that the feminine has done. And the way that this was shown to me, I mean, it was very, very clear. It's like, you have got to reorder through your own temple. And that's really the image that I was getting, was coming into this temple. My own light was filling it up. And once that was full and filled and running, then that's when the union starts to activate, and the masculine starts to rebirth through those energies, because the feminine is the driver. She is the driving force. So whatever it is that you as the feminine do, that is the level to which the masculine will be able to rehabilitate and to be rebirthed into the new fields, through the new fields. And there is no other way. This is the way it was designed always, that it would be the feminine was the driver. We weren't able to see it, right? There's so much distortion. We have to work through these layers to be able to come into this knowing and this awareness. But, and there's so much, to me, there's so much relief in that, because it's like, I can drop this whole thing, all these shenanigans over here, right, with the embodiment of the twin, and just work on my own temple, my own state of being, and that is what runs, and the level to which I am integral and which I am holding high order light, that is the level to which my life is also going to manifest, right? It's not just about the twin. But we don't see that start to activate until we are in the new fields and uptaking through source light. It's just not going to happen in these other distorted places, even though it can look very much like it is happening. And that's really the issue with these other energies, is that it appears to actually be working better than working with source right now. And it's a trap. It's really quite incredible how manipulative this energy is. But I can see I'm starting to lag here. But this mind programming really is what I saw. It was like it was holding through the arcs of the union up to source. And so it's like you can think you're in union, you can think you're doing all the right things, and that you are you're right there. But in the end, this mind programming is just going to wipe everything out. It's like you're going to reach the top and find out this was the completely wrong path to be on. And I think that we're going to start seeing this a lot more over the next, this year definitely is going to be, I know everyone thinks we're into the Aquarian age and we're into these new energies and it's going to be all wonderful, but it's going to be a lot of work. It really, truly is. So just mentioning that I do have a lot of other resources on my website. I do also have a Patreon account. I am doing also in-person sessions. So if you are interested in doing that, and part of that work is not just light language attunements, but it is about teaching you how to run your own field and how to learn what your field feels like and how it works. So if you're interested in that, please, check out my website. You can contact me through there. So I'm just going to stop this because I see it's totally blurry at this point. My computer is totally lagging. So, all right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and we will talk soon. Take good care.